Ah yes, Texas Frightmare weekend, one of my favorite weekends of the year and one of my favorite conventions that I go to every year. For the past 12 years plus, my wife and I have been to just about every one, and for good reason. I mean, this convention seems to get bigger and better every single year. As a matter of fact, I made a point this year to show up early to get my wristbands from Will Call so we could avoid the lines once we got there on Friday night, but that was kind of unavoidable as it was already packed. But I love the buzz of opening night of Texas Frightmare. There's just so much to take in, so much to see and do, and I don't even feel like I do it justice. I mean, they have panels and screenings and Q&As and all sorts of things that I think in years to come, hopefully we'll get a chance to participate in some of those. But this year allowed for a bit more limited schedule. We were only able to go a couple of days. And I tell you, if you're like me and you like to collect movie merchandise, memorabilia, toys, posters, t-shirt, whatever it is, you name it, this is the place to go. They have so much good stuff. And not only that, if you're into the meet and greet sort of thing, where you like to meet your favorite actors from your favorite horror movies, this is definitely the place too. In years past, I've got a chance to meet some of the cast from Aliens. They did a little reunion a few years ago, and I got a chance to meet Jeanette Goldstein, Mark Ralston, Michael Biehn, and I even got Drake to sign one of my carded figures. And at the time, I didn't have a carded Vasquez figure, so I had her sign this 8x10 picture. And, to top it off, really some of my favorite collectibles in my collection, some of the favorite things in my collection have come from this weekend. You just find so much good stuff that you just can't find anywhere else. One of the booths I knew I had to visit was Trick or Treat Studios booth because I was on the hunt for their Toxie figure. I could have easily ordered it from their website, but I wanted to pick it up at the convention. And I was glad that I picked it up on Friday because Sunday, when we went back, they were all sold out. And this thing's great. I have the original Toxie from the Playmates line back in the 90s, and I'm just a huge fan of Toxic Avengers and the Toxic Crusader movie by Troma, and this figure is just really, really well done, and especially the packaging, and that's why it's going to be hard for me to take this thing out of the box or off its package just because it's displayed so very cool. And since I have the original Toxie from the Playmates line, I'll probably keep this one on card for the time being, but they've done a fantastic job with this, so much so that I pre-ordered the Dr. Killamoff figure, and I'll be excited to get that one. And also, while at the Trick or Treat Studios booth, I picked up Farmer Vincent from Motel Hell. It's just so crazy to think here we are in 2024 and I have a Farmer Vincent figure from Motel Hell. It's just, I think over the years that movie's gotten more popular, but it's just wild to think that a company like Trick or Treat Studios is paying homage to some of these films. It's awesome. And their Scream Greats line, this is from their first series of these, they really have caught my attention. And so I'll be anxious to see what else they do, how obscure they go. Not that Motel Hell's that obscure, but it's just so awesome to think that they have Motel Hell merchandise out there. I'll probably end up opening up this figure at some point in time. It's too cool not to, but Trick or Treat Studios is doing a phenomenal job with their action figures, so I really have my eye on them to see what else they come up with, what else they do on down the line. But I was really happy to pick these up at Trick or Treat Studios booth at Texas Frightmare weekend. There was a really interesting booth that had these custom-made figurines and statues of a lot of different horror films and a lot of different movies. I thought they were really neat. I didn't really see one that stood out to me as being something I just had to take home, but at that booth on the table was a small little box of VHS tapes, and one stood out to me. It's the Rites of Dracula, also known as the Satanic Rites of Dracula. I believe this 1992 Gemstone release took out the satanic reference. It's too much for Western audiences at that time, I guess, but I'm a big fan of Hammer horror, and Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing just made some absolutely great films. I can't say that this is my absolute favorite that the duo did, but I'm still happy to bring home a VHS that I don't own. I love the fact that for whatever reason they decided to take out the satanic name within the title, and it's just neat to have in my collection. And for $2, I'm on that all day. So yeah, this was a must-buy for me at that price. And the only VHS tape, sadly, that I brought home. I saw some other ones that I was tempted to get. The prices were okay. I mean, I don't think that was really necessarily the distractor for me. It's like, oh, this price is too high. But I just, I wanted to spend my pennies in other booths, and I'm glad I did, as you'll see as we go on from some of the other stuff I found. If we see things that we think people we know may like, we try to pick them up a little something, and my wife has a friend who actually was in attendance. We didn't get a chance to meet up with her at the show, but she's a big fan of Return of the Living Dead, so we found this awesome Tarman Christmas ornament, and she's also a big fan of the B horror films, and we picked up this great hand-sculpted, hand-painted Attack of the Killer Tomato. Amanda, I hope you like these things. And this same booth where we got the Killer Tomato, I've actually bought some stuff from this gentleman before, and he hand paints, hand sculpts all of this stuff. I picked up a couple years ago the Tall Man Phantasm bust, a really neat thing I have in my collection. My sister's a big fan of the Creature from the Black Lagoon, so we got her this cool little keychain. And my sister-in-law, my wife's sister, is expecting a child here soon, and no baby's crib is complete without a stuffed Michael Myers. And these things are handmade, the little plushies here. So I thought those were neat things that we were able to pick up for some people while we were there. This booth had these awesome illuminated signs that look like they came straight from a rental store, a video store in the 80s or 90s, and the Nightmare on Elm Street one just stood out to me. I love that series of movies, I love that franchise of movies, and this one just had my name on it. It was between this one and the Halloween one, but he had a lot of really cool ones, and I decided to take home the Nightmare on Elm Street one. It just looks like something I remember seeing in my mom and pop video store growing up. But these things are awesome, and in hindsight, I may wish I would have picked up another one, because by the time we went back on Sunday, they were pretty much all gone. So really neat booth. I had not seen these before, and I think it'll be a great addition here at 2-Day Rentals to make it look more like that mom and pop video store that I spent so many hours in as a kid, just scouring through all the VHS tapes. But a really neat pickup, really cool booth. Had not seen these before, and I was real excited to bring it home. Killer Clowns from Outer Space has just really made this resurgence, having an anniversary of the film and with a video game that's around the corner. And this cotton candy cocoon is just great. Again, something that I just, in my mind, looks like it would have been hanging up in the horror section of your local video store. And I love this little thing. And it's a small little collectible, a piece of movie merchandise that just hangs up really easily in 2-Day Rentals. And my wife actually had an eagle eye and pointed it out. I think it was the last one they had. And so it was a must bring home for me. I love that movie. And I have a few things Killer Clowns from Outer Space, but nothing quite like this. And I think it'll look awesome up here in 2-Day Rentals. Speaking of quirky movie tie-in merchandise, how about a Jaws drain stopper? Again, the eagle eye of my wife, she saw this and she was like, this is just too quirky not to take home. And this is just right in the wheelhouse of that cross-promotional, just quirky merchandise sort of thing that I love. And Jaws is just an epic film, right? It stands the test of time, and this is just not your stereotypical Jaws type collectible, and there's a good chance it'll end up at the sink in our house here at 2-Day Rentals. But yeah, Jaws drain stopper, who knew, right? The artist behind Short Fuse Studios has been bringing great prints to Texas Frightmare for years, and we've picked up several of his prints over the years. And this year we took home the Pretty Lady Face from Leatherface and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Definitely one of my favorite horror films of all time. And his work's great. He does a lot of different types of prints from horror, and I just love his aesthetic and his approach to his work, and his prices are great. He's a really cool guy to talk to, so go check out his stuff, man, and maybe support him and make sure he can keep on producing incredible work. But I was happy to take home the Pretty Lady Face from Leatherface. Like I said, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is just definitely my top 5, if not maybe one of my most favorite horror films of all time. This booth had some amazing sculpted work, and it was hard to choose which one to take home. We decided to go with the Hannibal Lecter bear. This thing is cute, creepy, and altogether original. There was any number of pieces that we could have taken home from this booth, but I think we made the right decision with the Hannibal Lecter. I don't have a ton of stuff from Silence of the Lambs, and so this one is just all original, something you won't find anywhere else, and it'll look great here in 2-Day Rentals as well. So good find for this item. Misfit Toys out of Houston, Texas is a toy store that I highly recommend visiting if you're in the Houston area. As a matter of fact, I think they have 2 or 3. And well before I started doing content for 2-Day Rentals, I got a chance to visit that store when I was in the Houston area, and I highly recommend it. And the past couple years, they've started showing up at Texas Frightmare weekend with a booth, and I'm so glad that they have, because they have so much good stuff at a really good price. On Friday when I was there, I saw a few things that I really wanted to take home, but it was crowded. There's a lot of people in the booth. I didn't get a chance to look at everything they had. And so I thought, I'll come back Sunday, and maybe if this stuff's still here, I'll pick it up, or I'll get a chance to look a bit more at what they had for sale and maybe bundle some stuff together. And luckily for me, the things I had an eye on were still there on Sunday. I was able to bundle those things together and basically take them home for an amazing price. The first thing I grabbed was Galoob's Action Fleet Alien Narcissist ship. I've really wanted this one for a while. I have a few of these sets I've talked a little bit about here at 2-Day Rentals. I plan on doing a deeper dive, maybe opening up some of these things, and this one was just a must grab for me. And I actually bundled this with this Sonya Blade figure by Toy Island. And Sonya Blade may not have been my first choice for a Mortal Kombat figure, but the reason why I really wanted to bring this home with me is because I remember the mom and pop video store where I grew up had this whole line for sale when they, sometime in the mid 90s. I think this is like 96. And so when these came out, they had these for sale in the store. And so I've always wanted one. And so, yeah, it's just really neat. Toy Island's that quirky toy manufacturer. They've done some RoboCop figures back in the day, and this one was neat. Still on card, in really good shape. And lastly, the Pillar of Souls. This is from NECA 2004. This is their Hellraiser line they did, and this was actually kind of a build-a-figure thing. You had to collect 6 different figures to complete this, and I think it's just great. I love Hellraiser, and in the Mount Rushmore of horror villains, Pinhead is way on up there for me. The first 3 movies I love, and the Pillar of Souls actually makes an appearance in Hellraiser 2 and Hellraiser 3, and it's just, different than your normal Hellraiser collectible. It's something, it's a bit quirky, it stands out. The fact that you would have had to have collected 6 different figures in order to build this, I think it's neat that I can kind of skip all that and just have it all complete together. It'll look great with my Hellraiser 1 and 2 VHS and my large 1/6 scale pinhead figure. I'll find a place up there next to it to put it. But I think this thing's awesome. And like I said, I bundled all 3 of these items together and was basically able to walk away with 2 out of the 3 for free at the price I was able to get all these for. So super excited that Misfit Toys is having some representation at Texas Frightmare Weekend. The owners are great. Got a chance to talk to them for a little bit. Definitely check out their store if you're in the area. Misfit Toys has something for everyone, not just the horror stuff. They've got everything, and prices are very, very reasonable. If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. Texas Frightmare Weekend is a must attend and can't miss. And I would love to hear from my viewers. Are there conventions that you make a point to go to year in and year out that are can't miss for you? Do you have a horror film convention that comes through your neck of the woods? I would love to know. I would love to hear about other festivals that are happening or other conventions, because 2-day rentals is not opposed to making a road trip. So, you know, it doesn't matter where it's at. If you're across the globe, drop a line and let me know. And tell me, are there things there that you saw that you would have liked to have picked up? Are there any other conventions on the calendar that you're planning on going to? I love the conversation with my viewers. I can't thank you enough for joining in the topic of conversation with each video and allowing 2-day rentals to be a really cool place where we can talk about all the things we love, movie merchandise, collectibles, toys, you name it. I know there's a lot of you out there, and I really can't thank you enough. And if you've liked what you've seen and it's your first time here, do me a favor, share this with your friends, hit the like button, hit subscribe. You can stay up to date with everything I do here. I try to post 1, maybe 2 videos a month, sometimes more, sometimes less, but it's got to do with movie merchandise, toys, movie license, video games, music from time to time. There's a good chance I'll probably end up talking about it here on my channel. And it's like I always say at the end of my videos, let's be kind as we rewind and fast forward through time. Thank you so much for stopping by.